Well, hello there and welcome to a brand new era of interviewing on my YouTube channel. I'm Jack Lucas Caffrey, and today I have a man who made a bunch of music that you have definitely heard on the internet. For example, have you heard this tune? Have you heard this tune? Or have you heard this tune? Well, if the answer to any of those is yes, I am not surprised at all, as it is absolutely everywhere, and we're going to interview the guy who wrote them. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kevin MacLeod. How are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks. Glad to be here.
You're welcome. Same here. I'm glad that you came on, and let's have a great old chat and all that. So I suppose the first thing I'd like to ask you, it's something that I ask every single composer or singer or whatnot, and that is, how did you get into music?
I don't know, music sort of around all over the place. When I grew up, we had like a piano. There were various musical instruments hanging around, and there was no internet. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, there's that, or riding bikes. I think that's what we had. So that's pretty simple. And I've always done it, and I've been in bands through like middle school, high school. I started getting paid to be in cover bands when I was like 15, 16. Couldn't drink, but since I'm working, I can still go to the bars, right? So.
And what was the sort of like first music that you had sort of written and maybe even put out?
The first music I ever put out, I did a piano album in 1996. And the reason I know that is called 1996. You can't name things like that anymore. Like Spotify will just go, no, you can't name your album a name of a year. You have to probably for good reason. Anyway, I think one of the pieces on Incompetech is from that album. It's called Sovereign. It was one of the first pieces I ever wrote and recorded.
Gee. And eventually on your Incompetech website, you ended up releasing a bunch of your music and as a part of a royalty-free license. So when did you decide to sort of release your music on a royalty-free basis, and what was the reason behind that?
I think almost immediately is when I did that. And the reason is because I don't really understand copyright, and I can't expect any normal human to understand copyright. So it's like, let's just take this all out of the equation. Like, you want to use this, you can use this. Done. We don't have to worry. Well, some people still have to worry depending on what country you're living in, but just make it easy. And then, because most of my music was written to be useful for something. It's not music in itself. I don't write words. I don't have stories to tell. I have emotions to get across and ideas rather than texts. So the more my music is used, the more value it has in the world, and that just works out great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely has, with the amount of tunes that you have done. One specifically that has just kind of blown up and become its own thing, basically, is a tune called Monkeys Spinning Monkeys. How did you end up writing that tune when you were working on it?
That tune, I believe I had just gotten a brand new sample pack with a bunch of woodwind instruments, and I never really played with the English horn before. Oh, by Monkey Spinning Monkeys features the English horn, which it looks like an oboe, but it's like 4 notes longer than an oboe. So I was just putting it through the paces to see what it could do. What's the difference between these things? And it's just those last 4 notes. And so I made a little thing that went down to the part of the English horn where English horn's gonna English horn. Other than that, no real reason beyond that.
And despite that, it has become possibly the second most listened to song on TikTok with dozens of billions of views. So when it hit that number...
Who's number one? Who's number one?
I actually didn't search that up. Someone tell me in the comment section below.
I know I was number one for a long time. I got like over 200 billion on that track, so...
Yeah, which is absolutely bloody insane. But what I'd like to ask you is, what was sort of your reaction when you found out that this song that you'd only produced because you got an English horn sound pack became that big?
Well, I mean, that was, I don't know when I did that. It's got to be 10 years ago, maybe.
About, yeah.
Yeah, no, it grew really slowly and grew very organically. There wasn't like a single shot that, you know, it's like, oh, this was used in the X-Men movie. It wasn't used in the X-Men movie, but like there was nothing that did that. It was all just people using it as it's intended.
Yeah, exactly. Just sort of everywhere. And where did you sort of come up with like the name of Monkey Spinning Monkeys? Like what made you go, yeah, that's what we'll call it. We'll call it Monkey Spinning Monkeys.
Monkey Spinning Monkeys. Yeah, I got a friend of mine, Anne, in New York, who's very good at naming things. So normally I'll come up with a few ideas, send it out to a few friends, and that one won. It's like, yes, this is exactly what this song sounds like.
And has there been any sort of other songs that you've written where like you won't come up with the name of it, but someone else will? Has that ever happened before?
Oh yeah, back in the day, I used to actually hire people, I think on Fiverr or something like that, specifically to title my pieces because I hate doing it so much. Because like, you know, how many untitled piano music number 2385 do I have sitting on my desktop? I hate titling them. I'm just bad at it.
Oh god. Has there been any sort of ones that you came up like with yourself, the sort of like names of them, and if so, like where do you come up with the names? Like some of the names, like I don't know, Fluffing a Duck.
Fluffing a Duck, yeah, that's a good one.
Scheming Weasel. Where do you get these names?
Weasel. Well, it turns out that animal-named pieces of music do very well in search. I don't know why, but also, like they're like sort of instantly emotive. Like people know what a duck is, and you know what a sad, droopy duck is versus a fluffy duck. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you should fluff ducks. It's just it sounds cool, right? It's got the same vowels and something. Yeah, no, I don't know. Honestly, animals do well. I like animals.
Well, at least it wasn't called Stuffing a Duck. Then I know we'd be having a bit of a different story.
Yeah, I have no references to meat heating anywhere in my catalog.
Oh, there you go. So not only is Kevin's music very accessible and all over the place and royalty free, it's also vegan free.
Vegan friendly, yes.
Yeah, vegan friendly, not vegan free. Vegan friendly.
There you
go. You've also had some other tunes that have went wildfire as well. One specifically that I remember because it was probably, I believe, the first thing I ever heard from you. And it was a tune called Sneaky Snitch. Where did that one sort of come about? How did you end up making that tune?
I think that one came about because Scheming Weasel had been out for a long enough time that I was hearing it everywhere, and it was just annoying me. So I'm like, okay, I'll make another one, which is kind of like that one, and then maybe I won't get annoyed as much when people use it. And it was basically very like it was for me, just so I wouldn't get annoyed when I lived on YouTube. And I do. I mean, that happens. Like, you know, I'll watch like a thing on like a castle video, and I'm like, wow, this music could be way better. I need to make some castle music video and then send it to this guy so that the next time they make castle music, the music won't suck.
So do you just like to sort of like, if you find something like a piece of media, whether that be a movie, a TV show, or whatever, and you think the music is a bit do you just sort of go and like make a new score for it just for yourself?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
One of the first things I ever scored was Nosferatu. And I think some of those things are still online, although I don't remember the titles of the ones that are up there. Yeah, I got hired to do a movie, and like I had no idea how to score a movie, so I just grabbed Nosferatu. It is a 1928 film, so no soundtrack at all.
Yeah.
And now that gave you that's a lot of work, because you have to build up entire characters and, you know, dialogues and feelings and all of the unseen things. And yeah, no, scoring films is great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what other films have you scored? I mean, is there any sort of films that you had quite an involvement in, and if so, which ones?
I don't know. Early on, I scored a lot, you know, for contract work. Some of them are great. Some of them were barely rescuable. I'm not going to get into who's which, but yeah, I haven't done that really in the last, I don't know, 6-7 years.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. But there was one film that you did have one of your songs appear in, which was quite a massive film. It was a little tune you did called Friendly Day, and it happened to appear in Martin Scorsese's Hugo.
Yes!
How the hell did it end up in that?
I guess the story is that they had temped my music in for a bunch of these scenes, and then nobody realized that they didn't have the rights to it. It was like 3 days before they were going to release, you know, so like I'm not in the credits because they're not going to redo that. Just so yeah, no, they just licensed it from me, and now very obliquely I might have an Academy nomination. That's not true. I did not do the work that got the nomination, but the movie got it.
Well, that's just crazy though, that you ended up just randomly getting into a massive film like that out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, yeah, massive films they very rarely screw up on, but yeah, I'm on a lot of people's like short list for temping music in, you know, just to get the things, because most of my pieces do like one thing, and they do the one thing from when you start to when you end. There's not a lot of building and changing emotions. It does the thing, which is really useful when you're scoring or when you're temping in soundtracks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what was like the call like? As you said, it was 3 days to go before the film came out. So like, what was that call like? Where they're saying, "Hey, look, you know your little song, Friendly Day. Can we just put that in this big budget film?"
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, we need to get the licensing worked out on this. I'm like, great. You can go to my website. You can fill out the form. It'll cost you $30, and then you're done. That's, this contract, we use it with the BBC, NBC, like all the big media people use it. It looks deceptively short, but believe me, lawyers were involved. And mostly it just gives more rights to the producer than almost any contract out there. So yeah. And then they said, no, we'll actually pay you real money. And then they paid me real money, which was great.
They must have thought that a $30 price fee for your tune was like, I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, that is, yeah, nope. That's what it takes. So
there you go. And what other sort of movies or games or TV shows had like your music just appeared in and you went, oh wait, that's my tune?
Yeah, I think Stanley Parable. I was not expecting it in there. There's a few ones. I remember when the PlayStation VR launched, I had a few of the launch titles in there and like didn't even know until I got them. Like, oh, that's a whole jukebox full of my blues music. That's cool. That's great. Yeah, no. Games are great. Big fan.
Have you ever scored like a video game for yourself? And if so, what was that like?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I just do for fun is I make stupid video games and then score them. I had a video game that I made called Magic Scout. It's just a sort of like a 2D Zelda thing, except for that there's nothing bad that happens anywhere. You just sort of wander around and go like turn dead trees into living trees and discover portals and things like that. And yeah, I wrote a nice soundtrack for that. It's super fun. Actually, I have a lot of video game music that I have not released on its own. I probably should, because I mean, it's not doing as much good just sitting inside the game. So
Yeah, or it just sort of even in the vault, nowhere to be heard or anything.
yeah.
And I do know that you do release music elsewhere on other websites, specifically another one that you have called FreePD.com.
Yeah.
And the sort of catch with this one is that the music's public domain. So what's it like sort of going, you know what, I'm just going to give this music out?
Well, I mean, FreePD is not as popular as Incompetech. It's got a few pieces that people might have heard, but... So why are we talking about FreePD?
What makes you sort of go, yeah, I'm going to go and make this even more free than the royalty-free music on this little other website I have.
Right. Because like I had a bunch of pieces that were like you don't want too many tracks in your catalog or people can't find the good ones. So you want to make sure that you only give people the best ones and then you take the other ones out because like there's a better track that does that emotion or feeling better than the old one. Maybe it had, bad mixing or terrible clarinet part. I don't remember. And then I took those and then people were like, hey, that song that I got from you, where is it? I'm like, oh, that terrible one? Yeah. So then I just took all those along with a bunch of, other things that friends of mine have done. And they're like, put it in together in this whole package. It's like, here. It is as free as we can legally make it on planet Earth.
And do you have enough like traffic going in and getting like little public domain music going in and then it appearing in random stuff?
Yeah. The FreePD stuff is out there. It does really well in China. I think about 40% which is great because number one, FreePD is not blocked in China, so that's good.
That's good.
I think one of the things that might contribute to that is all of the descriptions are also done in emoji. So you can just look for like an angry person with a spider. You know what that's going to sound like, as opposed to like a balloon and a rainbow, which is going to sound different.
Yeah, that's quite a clever way of describing music with just a little emojis. I think I've seen examples of that with big artists, but not very often. It's not an often thing that happens.
Yeah, I don't know why I did it. It took a long time to categorize those things. So I've got 3 web pages up just like looking for the right emojis that would work for the piece. So, but it seems to work for people. And again, that way I don't have to title them. Yeah. They already had titles, but I don't have to worry about that because that's what it is. It's that emojis.
Yeah. What will I choose today? City, British flag, rain, there.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly how to write that song.
Brilliant. And what was the sort of strangest place that you heard your music? Like you were kind of doing your own thing and then your music plays and you're like, huh, that's a bit odd. Well, that's there.
A bit odd. I mean, it shows up in weird videos. like it'll be in the background of like a news segment on the Australian Broadcasting Company. And like, that's weird. Well, a lot of times they're reporting on other people's videos and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been in. It's not like I accidentally stumbled into a theme park in Finland and heard it there, but I know it's being used there.
Who told you that?
The Finnish.
That is mad.
I know it's been used in the National Portrait Gallery of Washington D.C. I assume. I've never been there either. It's been used in a lot. It's nifty stuff.
A lot of nifty stuff indeed. And you also have a couple of other tunes that went viral as well, whether it be for an actual reason or a funnier reason. One of those being the tune Carefree, which has a little ukulele, little ding ding sound, all of that. How did that sort of tune come about?
There was, oh my God, I don't remember the year, but I remember being very angry at like everything had this sort of like ukulele clapping, tambourine, super bright, does not like offend anyone. And I'm like, oh yeah? Oh yeah, well, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it even more inoffensively. An even happier mix, because I mean I honestly did that one out of frustration, and then it got really popular. That's okay. I'm trying to I'm realizing now, like, most of the things that I do just because I'm like angry, like, work, and people love them. I don't think they can feel the anger in me in that song. Oh, but I can.
I mean, like, yeah, when I do sort of like listen to it, I can sort of tell, like, at parts you're trying to take it seriously and not put something that's just utter garbage. But also I can tell you are really taking the mick out of the bloody ukulele sound.
I mean, those chords all work very well in ukulele.
Yep.
Like it's not a joke piece, but it's hard to explain when you get into those weird things like that. And then, like, Scheming Weasel, I got upset at that one being everywhere, and so I wrote Life of Riley, and that one's been doing well, although probably not as well as the original Carefree.
Yeah.
And like, so I get emails like, hey, can you write more music like that? I'm like, I would rather not. I really would rather not write music like that.
No, I wouldn't blame you. But it's everywhere. I've seen it in, like, yeah. I've seen it in the happiest things. I've seen it in the most tragic things. I heard it in a YouTube advert once. It was like, what was it? It was like one of those, like, AliExpress like shops. I don't think it was AliExpress themselves, but it was like, oh, you know, I can buy new stuff, and ding, 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 ding.
Honestly, if like Amazon got rid of allowing people to upload their own audio and just use that, the world would be a better place, because my God, the background music on audio or on the video reviews on Amazon, just terrible. Like, even the ones that are made by the company that makes the light bulb or whatever, it's like, oh, it's just we'll put something in here, and it's like, yeah, but it's wrong. It's wrong.
So is your goal with, like, some of the tunes that you work, is your goal to sort of make, like, royalty-free music that doesn't sound like royalty-free music, if you know what I mean by that?
Like, theoretically, there should be no such thing as sounds like royalty-free music. One of them is music and one of them is legal. You can put any legal thing onto but yeah, it turns out there is a sound. and sadly, like, so there's a company out there called I don't know, Stable Diffusion or whatever. They've got they do AIs that make images and stuff,
Yeah.
and they just released one called Stable Audio, and where you can type in anything and it'll make that piece of music for you. So, I want mysterious bongos in a rainforest with rain and also an occasional tuba. And then it'll do that. But the problem is they trained it exclusively on a set of royalty-free licensed music. So it kind of pushes in that direction. Like if that's all you need done, it's getting okay for that. But it's like, yeah, it would be really cool if you could, listen to some, I don't know, big band stuff, or maybe, maybe I want something that's Debussy like or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not in their training data, and it won't do that. So
No, and I think it'll be very hard for them to really like find other music outside of that, because like it a lot of people, and understandably, like I'd be slightly as well, are protective of their music and whatnot. And so you could only imagine like the amount of music they wouldn't be able to work with to learn to train like a software to write music.
yeah, that's a whole can of worms right there. Like, so, like I don't know. I think I've given like my entire catalog of all my music plus all the stems plus, I don't know, it's like 60 gigabytes worth of stuff to at least 5 different AI companies that are doing stuff. So hopefully my music will make it into some of the upcoming, or at least my style we'll get into some of the upcoming generators.
Interesting. And what made you sort of go, yeah, I'm gonna go and make this music be, I'm gonna give this to a company to train a little computer to write music like me? What made you sort of go, yeah, I'll do that?
I don't know. It sounds like I don't want more shitty music in the world. I mean, I kind of make shitty music. Well, I don't have to make shitty music. It's a whole, I don't know, shitty as an aesthetic. But I think it's usually pretty well produced. So at least for the purposes that it's doing. And if the computers can learn from me, that would be better. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, Kevin did stuff and then he died and nothing ever happened again. It's like, well, people have grown up. They've listened to me for years, and it's part of how, they think about music and hopefully write music. There's plenty of people who've mentioned that. Yeah, no, get it out there, get it, get the computers learning it, and then we'll have better music faster.
Yeah, and immortalize yourself in the process.
Sure.
And another tune that you did that also blew up as well, that a lot of people seem to like as well, including myself, I can quite dig it, is Local Forecast, specifically the elevator version. How did you sort of go, yeah, how did that one sort of come about?
Again, that was another one where I just bought like a sample pack of loopy things, and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna go in 1,000% on that aesthetic, which is because like you see it in movies, like it's a trope, but no actual elevators have music anymore. Like that was a thing from, I don't know, the 1960s or something, but people still get the joke, even though the joke doesn't exist in real life. And yeah, it really does sound like that, though, right? It is.
Well, that was the sort of vibe you were.
It like became the yeah.
Yeah, it was this vibe that you kind of wrote, and then you made it sound more like an elevator when you processed it
Right.
with the elevator sound. And it went
Absolutely.
everywhere, and people put it in their elevator things or their waiting videos.
Oh yeah, it's like, a few moments later, it's in there in so many of the pieces.
Yeah, that's where it is. I tend to find where it's usually like an intro. What was it? I think it was I Hate Everything used that music. as his intro. And I remember that now that I think, yeah, he did. He used it. So when he'd, say, I hate this, that would be the first thing to play is do 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 do. But yeah, you are right in the fact that there's no like elevator music out like in an actual elevator.
For a while we had that Muzak service where they would take popular songs and then like record their own sort of light versions of them, so they didn't have to pay mechanical rights. They could get them basically for half price if they did them, and nobody really liked it.
And you've also had some of your songs become a bit more memey and sort of be associated with more meme-like stuff. And I'm going to actually show you one of the examples of this, which is, it was one of your tunes called Electro Cabello. And do you remember that tune?
I remember the name. I can't tell you what it sounds like.
No, well, I'll remind you here because
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you will. But there was this guy, this streamer guy named Jerma. And what he did was he made like this little animation with rats using this kids animation software called 3D Movie Maker. And he decided to put like a little rap song together using your Electro Cabello. And it was called the Rat Birthday Mixtape, and here it is here. Hope you enjoy.
Rats, we are the rats. Celebrate another one, a birthday bash. Michael, it's your birthday today. Take the ice cream, it's on its way. And Michael, take a good boy this year. Open up your hips while we all cheer.
And that's the tune.
Yeah, it sounds like the sort of late 1980s jock jams, sort of like grooving. It's nice.
So you're appreciative of that rap?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'll tell you now, I'd say Jerma, if he finds that out, he's going to be very happy with himself there when he finds out that the composer of the work was happy with his little rap.
Oh yeah, that is completely in the spirit of the piece. Yeah.
There was also like another sort of one that kind of became like, not like a very popular meme, it's sort of like an underground meme where there's like a couple 100,000 that get the meme. And it's
underground memes.
Inside joke memes. No, it's not inside joke. It is popular enough, but it's regarding one of your songs, Big Rock. Are you familiar with that tune?
Big Rock would have been a really early one. You can tell because the title is not very clever. I don't remember it particularly, but I'm guessing it's guitar, bass, and drums.
Yep, guitar, bass, and drums, and I've got it here for you. This is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. In any ways, that sort of tune anyway, that kind of built like it became a theme song of its own in like these GoAnimate videos, which were also like, was a kid's software and people made videos on it. And what people did was they got that tune whenever like one of the characters went rogue and started doing bad stuff. So whether it be blowing up a building or crashing a car or punching someone or whatever, that would be the like rage music that would use before they eventually got grounded for 53,000 years. That was kind of the trope of all the GoAnimate videos. Very, very strange, but it built a following of its own with that music.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I can absolutely see that happening. Didn't know it happened. Did not know it happened. I mean, but this is like super common because I'll like get like email from like knitter or crochet people, and they're like, hey, you'll have one person that uses like one of my tracks, and then like another person will use the same track, and they're like, everyone can use my. I did not know that there was a controversy in the textile world about who can use which piece for their for their theme, but I guess when you don't own the music and you become really popular, then that music becomes associated with you. The only way to get it away from them is to become more popular than the first person that had it, and so, which is fine. Because I'm happy with all of that.
Yeah.
although maybe the tech stuff people should just chill out a little bit, maybe sometimes.
Yeah. But chill out. This is music that you can get for free under Creative Commons license. Come on, chill, please. And another sort of like meme one as well. This is one that I particularly like from a YouTuber I follow. An interview did about sometime last year named Josh Revel, and he used one of your pieces, "Take a Chance." Do you remember that tune? Writing that one?
Again, it sounds like an early one because it's not a very descriptive name.
Well, and anyways, it's like this very like superhero music. I'll play you the example of it in a bit. And I feel like you're remembering it, are you?
I wonder if that's one that I wrote. I wrote a bunch of music for a Canadian superhero. I forgot I actually met him in Toronto. It's like Dr. Horrible or Dr. Evil. It was I feel really bad that I don't remember his name. Anyway, what's it sound like? Can you cue it up for me?
I will. I'll explain the sort of joke and what happens and then play the music, because that's sort of how it's built up. So essentially,
got it.
There was this like Formula 2 racing driver named Mahaveer Raghunathan that was utterly dreadful behind the wheel. Like, I mean, just way below the league of everyone else in that was driving. And he just basically made like this little mockery cult following going, "Yeah, Lord Mahaveer, we think you're the best," even though he was dreadful. And one of the things that he did was, it was during like a race, it was like the Formula 2 Monaco Grand Prix in 2019, I believe. And basically, he made this joke saying he made a bunch of overtakes on the start, but there was a reason for that. And then plays a video of this Mahaveer Raghunathan guy completely cutting the corner while this tune plays. And that's become like a following in its own. So they'll go, "Oh, Mahaveer, we love you," and then that song will blast out at full volume.
I think I wrote that for a Minecraft video.
What?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think there was a video that it was like there's a YouTube channel called Element Animation.
Oh my god, I watched them when I was younger. Yeah.
No, I scored almost all their stuff up until very recently. So.
See.
And I think that was like there was like a big build up and like an Indiana Jones thing, and then just like the blow off at the end. So yeah, you had to have this like big, over the top, grandiose thing to make the joke work. I think that's where that came from. I'm not sure.
And what was it like actually working with Element Animation on their like stuff and scoring their stuff? What was the sort of process?
Oh man! First off, Element Animation's great. I first saw their like a couple of their early videos, and they had my music in it. So I'm like, hey, send me I will write new music for these videos because it could have been done better. They also have a couple of very talented composers in-house. So I think they're doing more of that themselves now. But yeah, no, great to work with, great people. Perfectly reasonable deadlines. You don't always get that.
Brilliant. And what was it like what sort of like episodes that you did? Like, was there any from like The Crack or even like an Egg's Guide to Minecraft or any of that?
Yep, Crack, Egg's Guide to Minecraft, Villager News.
Oh, brill.
all the biggies. And then, they did the animations for like Minecon. Did some stuff for that. Some ads, like expansion pack ads that they did for Microsoft, stuff like that. Yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know that you actually worked with Microsoft on any sort of music, like, well, through Element Animation. But what was it like working on, like, actual promotional music that ended up being used by Microsoft for their Minecraft stuff?
I don't know. It just seems like music to me. You just, you distill as much of whatever you can and make it understandable to humans, and that's my job. I don't know, man.
And I'm guessing that's how you approach like your music. You just sort of go, let's make it as accessible as possible. No, is that how you do it?
Yeah. I hope so. Sometimes things get weird, but yeah, that's, you go in, figure out what it takes to do it, get going on the right track, add in as many ideas as you can, and then delete as many of the notes as you can. That still gives a thing, so you can get some more clarity out of it. So yeah, it's just adding and then removing, and then like adding a little bit back in later, and it's a fun process. I mean, you can tell as you're going. It's like, is it supposed to make me dance? Is it making me dance? Is it supposed to make me sad? That kind of thing. Yeah, it's just iteration.
Yeah. So when you're writing a song, do you sort of try to, maybe not like completely minimalist, but you try to like a minimalist approach where you understand what the piece sounds like as soon as you hear it, you get what's going on?
Oh, yeah, that would be something that I'm searching to do. Don't always do it, but I do try.
No, I get that, because I remember this one composer I spoke to, David Lowe, who did the BBC News theme. He had like this sort of side project, and he had like a little song he wrote called Would You, and what he tried to do for that was do a minimalistic approach where it's just as little as possible, but you'll recognize it as soon as you hear it.
Yeah, very hard to do that. There's been a few pieces, like Satie famously has a couple of pieces which are so minimal and just beautiful and haunting. Satie's dead, by the way. Don't worry about it. He's fine.
All right. And, you do as well, like, as we've covered, you do like a bunch of genres of music. So how did you end up getting so versatile with each of the genres that you've worked on?
I mean, there's just a lot of commonalities in music, especially Western music. We have the same scales for damn near every genre in existence, regular beat, that's common to everything. How high instruments interact with low instruments, how percussion interacts with everything, that's common to everything. So it's like, take out your English horn and put in a Telecaster, and now you sound a little bit more like country music.
Yeah.
It's all a continuum.
It's all about the instrumentation then. The
instrumentation helps. I'm sure you can have a bluegrass orchestra and it would sound amazing. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. It's basically Lego pieces, and you try to build the thing,
And this is more sort of like a bit of more like a technical sort of question that I'd say my dad would be very interested in hearing. And that is, do you work with like session musicians when when writing the music, or do you just play the instruments yourself, or you synthesize instruments? Because my dad's sort of approach when he does music is sort of, if you could do it on the synth, do it on the synth.
Absolutely, yes. I've got a few pieces, and so like I will definitely temp everything out electronically, and then like do like a one pass recording with like an actual banjo or a sax player or an accordion or like whatever instruments that we really don't have good software for.
Do you sort of like prefer like working on just the little synth stuff? Like if it was possible to just have them all on the synths and sample packs and VSCs, would that just be the approach you do, or would you still go and get session musicians or whatnot?
Yeah. Oh well. If I had gone to get a session musician, that means my deadline was way too long. And I somehow had like time to like schedule, it takes time to schedule, rolling it in, matching the character of their performance with the character of the instruments I'm using. I'm not fast at it, but I can do it. And it takes a long time, but it turns out that you can just hire musicians and they're amazing. And it's like okay, give them the lead sheet before they get over, then they just like read it down and like, yep, that was great, solo was great, here's your money, bye. like you did so much better of a job than I ever could have done. and it's like they're not that expensive. So.
Yeah, because like now that you say it, I mean the amount of like top quality musicians you could just find, even like in your local area, in the case of me, is like absolutely crazy. I'll give you a great example. I was doing like this song, and I wanted a guitar in it, and at the time, now I can play the guitar now, as you can see right here, I can play it,
nice.
But at the time I couldn't play the guitar, and I was listening to the synthy guitar. I was like, it doesn't sound very good. So I asked this one guy who I knew for years, named Phil. He'd been playing guitar years and years, and he went viral with that Irish busker Ali Sherlock a few years back. But I messaged him and said, hey, look, I have a song. It's not that complicated. Could you play it? And he was like, oh, well, Jack, I'm going to America tomorrow. I'm not sure I'll be able to do it, but I'll see. I'll have a listen to it and I'll see. And I was like, okay, fair enough. 1 hour later, he came back with the sickest riff I've ever heard. I was like, holy moly, what? What did you do?
Yeah, people are really good.
Yeah. And you're still making new music, as I see. I believe on your YouTube channel, you recently released pieces called Morning and Evening. What were those for, and what was it like working on those?
Let me quick check. Because they were ones that I had laying around on my computer for a long time, and I'm like, this is done. This is done enough. Let's see what it is. Morning. Oh, there's morning and evening. Okay. So what do we got here? This is okay, so that's like 6-string guitar stuff going on. And what was this? Was for a video game that I was working on. It's kind of like an Animal Crossing background stuff.
Yeah, now that you say it, it sounds like that.
Yeah. So that's what those were written for. The video game never happened, but I wrote the music for it. So.
Yeah, there you go. And so you just still have a bunch of stuff just lying in your computer, and then you just release it occasionally when you do.
I really should. Well, it's been more and more difficult for me to get upset at the state of music in the world, because it's really gotten a lot better in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Where we had just the royalty-free sound was out there. There's plenty of people out there that are doing more stuff now, and I'm just not as angry as I used to be.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I mean, people are like, oh yeah, you gotta rep music from a place of joy. I'm like, absolutely not. You can run out of joy, but anger, that well runs deep. You can just keep being angry. Anger will get you out of bed in the morning. It's like it's 4 a.m. Oh, that piece of music still needs to be done.
Exactly. Now you have done other things that isn't just music as well. I believe that you've also done some graph paper, which is actually Some quite good graph paper, Kevin. I know you're laughing, but some good graph paper. What was it like making that?
It is still one of the best graph papers available on the internet anywhere. You would think that somebody else would have figured out how to do that. Like, you can just get the source code from me, but nobody wants to set it up. And I made it good enough that how much better do you need it to be? You know, actually, I am going to be working on graph paper later this week because I got a lot of people requesting a lot of features yet. So, but yeah, that was one of the first things that I put up where it's like, I made this for me because I needed graph paper because I was building a dungeon that night and we didn't have 24-hour stationary stores, but I had a printer and I knew how to program. So, and then I just put it up on my website, and that, honestly, the advertising from that really supported me for many, many years.
Gee. And it still is one of the most popular places to find graph paper. The last I checked, it was a few weeks ago I checked, I think it's like number 3 Google results if you search up graph paper.
I was just going to quick Bing graph paper and see what we got.
Yeah, might as well.
Graph paper. Let's see. Print free graph paper is number 1. Virtual graph paper number 2. None of those are as good as me. What is this? Oh, I'm not even on the front page of Bing. All right. Well, maybe Bing's not built for me. That's fine.
Yeah. Who uses Bing?
Oh my God. I switched to Bing and Edge because it's just that much better than Google now. You search for a thing and it gives you the answer. And like, I can't imagine, like, what would the world had to have looked like if it would be like, 2 years ago, it's like, all right, Kevin, you're going to switch over to the Microsoft Edge web browser on your Mac and set everything in your world to default to Bing. I'm like, what happened to Google? What? Like, was there a bomb that just took out everything? They're just better. It saves me time. So I know this isn't like a tech podcast or
It's a bit of a, well, it's not really, it doesn't really have a genre. It's like, I don't know what to describe this podcast. I don't know. It's like, I talk to people that I think is interesting, and I don't care if they're famous or not.
There you go.
That's
fantastic.
That's how to describe my interviews. There you go. But you've also done other things that isn't graph paper that you can find on Google and whatnot, or Bing. You also did a calculator for the iPad. What was it like putting a calculator together?
Oh, talk about anger. I don't know if you've ever looked for a calculator. First off, everyone goes like, what are you doing a calculator for iPad for? They're built into the iPad. I'm like, oh, no, they are not. They're built into the iPhone. There is no calculator on iPadOS. And then like when you go through and you just like calculator after calculator after calculator, some of them are, pay $3, $5. Some of them are monthly subscription calculators.
What?
Some of them, monthly subscriptions.
Okay.
They all harvest data. They like so many of them, like you can get like the light mode, and it'll either run ads or like be missing like the plus button, which I swear to God is a real thing that you have to pay for.
What?
There's an actual one out there. I have pages of like 30 of these things, and like installed every one of them, tried them out. There's one that would you type in your thing and you hit the equals button and it runs like a 10 to 15 second video ad before it gives you the solution.
Come on.
Not a joke. So big anger in me for that. I'm like, I can't believe it's a calculator. How hard could this be? I found out it's actually pretty hard.
That sounds like a moment in Top Gear where Jeremy Clarkson says, "How hard can it be?" and then they make a mess of it.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, it ended up having to involve Turkish mathematicians, and like it was so good. But it has better precision than even the iPhone one, and it like exact same. If you know how to use the iPhone one, you know how to use this one. All the operations happen in the same order, which is not true in all these calculators. Especially when you get into some of the weird trigonometric things, like the order of operations, like the way that people type it in and the way that they're expecting it become anyway, it can be very hard to make a calculator. And I hope that people could enjoy my calculator before the next iPad OS comes out, and they probably put one in for free. And then, see, which would be fine. As long as we have them for free, I just am angry that there are dozens of developers making money off of just god-awful shit and pre-roll ads and like the number of like, so like most of them
Oh god, that is the first walk-off on my interviews, everybody.
So angry. Because like they want to collect like location data, but Apple would be like, no, man, it's a calculator. You can't collect location data. So they're like, but we'll put in a currency converter. And now we need to know where their location is so that we can give them the correct default currency. I'm like, that is not why you put that in there, you lying pieces of shit.
Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you made the calculator app. I don't use the iPad that much, so I don't have the calculator app. But I did check its privacy policy, and my god, is this the greatest privacy policy I've ever read in my entire life. How do we collect your personal data?
Yes.
We don't collect your personal data.
It's like, for residents of California, we same as everyone. No, because there's literal things that you have to include, you know, because there's different laws in different areas, and you have to address those in order for Apple to take it into their store. So yeah, again, there's another thing that makes me angry. I'm like, I can't believe I have to write a return policy for a free app, which has no in-app purchases. It has there's no way to get. I don't even tell you how to give me money. There's no method for you to give me money with this. And now I have to write a return policy document. So I linked to Apple's page on how to delete an app. I'm like, well, there you go. You returned it, I guess.
Oh my god. Oh,
thank you for reading that. I don't think anybody reads that.
No, I just read it because I remember hearing of the calculator app, and I was kind of going, do you know what? It has a privacy policy, and Kevin's going on about that the fact in another interview, and it was like that Kevin's going on about the fact that it doesn't collect info. Let me see what this privacy policy looks like. We don't collect your personal data. We do not track your location. We do not do this. We do not do that. I was like, this is. It almost felt like you were taking the piss out of the privacy policy.
Well, yeah, and also, like, that should just be what it is normally. The fact that people are like, oh, I get competitive advantage. It's like, no, man, you're going to sell your app for $3 and it really doesn't matter. Like, what are you going to do? A lot of like bus and train advertisement in Indonesia because you found that you're like popping there for some reason. It's like, no one's doing that. Put out your app, make it the best you can, and be done with it. I must have been talking about that calculator app for a long time if it's been on.
Yeah, this'll be a great clip. Kevin MacLeod rants about calculator apps.
Oh
But
my
I
God,
understand
they're terrible.
it.
They're
I
absolutely
understand
terrible.
it though.
You just need like a couple of open source people to just go, no, never again. But the problem is it's very hard to find those sort of open source things because the people that make the stores don't make any money from distributing open source software to the people who ask for it.
Yeah.
So you're unlikely to get recommended from, the Play Store or the Apple App Store or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like now how much money do I have to spend so that people are aware that they can get a superior product for free? How much money do I have to spend to do that?
Free publicity. Free publicity. This is it. Right.
Well, hey, thank you so much. I'm really glad that we were able to talk about this calculator app because, as you know, your interviews are known for a lot of calculator apps. So.
Yeah, I remember speaking really specifically to all my guests about it. I remember talking about calculators.
I mean, it comes up all the time, and yet we just don't have a good one for iPad.
No, we don't. And now we do. Thanks, Kevin, for solving the problem. Podcast over. First series over. And that's the second walkout we had. And you've also done some other sort of apps, moving away from the calculator app. You also did another app which was absolutely crazy called the Text to Morse Code to MIDI app. Now, this is the most specific thing I've ever seen. Write a bit of text, it goes into Morse code, you get a MIDI of it. What were you thinking, man?
Well, again, so I'm doing like audio assets for like a video game, and one of the characters in the video game is an old style Babbage computer that only speaks in dots and dashes. And so you could either like learn it and then like play it in a keyboard, or like, oh, wait a minute, we just have computers for this. So, it's like, all right, here's the thing, and it works. It works really well.
Yep.
You can have it say anything you want, drag it into your DAW, and there you're off and running. Yeah, I got a lot of things like that. Where it's like, I needed this once. Like nobody else has put that app out there. If somebody had, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
It's dumb. But nobody had. I've got other apps which I need to get in with my developers to like integrate into my website that they do music mastering, they do leveling, which are just apps that I wrote to solve problems that I had that day, And so every time I solve a problem, package it up, throw it online. Hopefully, eventually all the problems will be solved. Or they'll get so bizarre that you'll have to write something that, goes text to Morse code to MIDI.
Oh, but it's a good one. It is a good one, anyways. I don't know when I'll need it, but I know it exists, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, mine is number one in the segment.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's too specific.
It's a very small segment.
Yeah, I think how many people need that app? 7? Maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe more, maybe less, not sure.
About 1 in a billion. If you need that, you're 1 in a billion. That's great.
Exactly. There you go. Amazing. And has there been any sort of other like mad apps like that you just sort of made where it's like, yeah, I need to make this. This is needed.
Yes. I do this all the time. Like when you go to an airport and they'll have like the flight board with the arrivals and departures, and it tells you the time and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got one of those in my sort of dining room, and it tells me like, here's all of your next appointments. How far away are they? Here's the time where you are. Here's, high of like 28.6 degrees today, low of 13 tonight. It's just got all that stuff. And yeah, I had to write that.
And that was just for yourself.
It's just for me. Yeah, I just goes and grabs all the stuff from the Google Calendar, combines it with some other stuff that I had written earlier to do other things, and it really is useful. Because I used to write things on a dry erase board, and then like every week you have to like write it again, and like, yeah, no, this just fixes everything. It's beautiful.
That sounds cool. That sounds like something that if I was renovating my house or making it a little more futuristic, I want that. I want that. That just sounds like a great thing where, you wake up, you see this screen, hang on, Kevin MacLeod interview happening in 5 hours, and the weather is rubbish.
Exactly. Here's a little shot of like the sort of thing that it looks like.
Oh, yes, that's cool.
Then, yeah, it sort of exists in oh boy. Oh, there we go. Just sort of hanging on the wall there.
Oh, man. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I bought a little Raspberry Pi thing and then, like, got that up and running and just stuck it on the back of there. I got the TV for free off the sidewalk because you can do that, apparently.
Oh, that's really cool. That is really cool. Oh god, I'm gonna be jealous of that for the whole of tonight.
Yeah. Well, I can send you the code, but you're just gonna get my schedule. You probably have to change it a little bit if you wanted to look at your schedule. Yeah,
that's grand. That's cool. Now we're coming up to the end of the interview now, so I just have two sort of last questions for you. Firstly is, what are you sort of doing in the future? Any sort of upcoming projects landing your way?
I don't have any big projects that I'm doing. Just things are coming in as they're doing. I'm doing a lot of just like maintenance things on like, 'cause my website is now 25 years old.
Gee, it's quarter of a century.
Some of that code can really use some freshening up.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. Just quality of life things. And of course, chicken cams, doing a lot of work with the local chicken. I've got like so many, like I've got like a sort of a video game development hub that's got like 3 people in it. And I've got this sort of like how to live in the world once everyone loses their desk jobs to AI. And it's like, well, I think people are going to need to understand how to work with chickens because they're going to have a lot of time and chickens are delightful. So we've got Suburban Coop, Wisconsin there on Twitch if you want to see one of the highest quality chicken cams available. We're still working out things. Obviously the overlays aren't good. We don't have any interactivity yet, but yeah, chicken stuff, if you're interested in that. Man, I'm a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of weird stuff. Oh, and then of course Jane Cast Music. Which you can get to at janecast.com, JANEKASS, and beautiful 3D printed musical instruments and musical instrument accessories.
Ooh.
Again, so things that make me angry. All right, this is a pan flute.
Ooh.
And this there's an opera from Mozart called The Magic Flute. I think, anyway, it's got a character named Papageno, and on stage, they're supposed to play the pan flute, and it goes a little like,
oh, lovely.
Right? But it turns out you can't be bothered to learn how to play a pan flute and play it loudly and get it in tune. Even if you wanted it in tune, it's not going to happen because they're all handmade and they like it matters, the temperature of the performance. So we've got like this one is rated, I think this one is rated for A440 at 22 degrees C. You know, if you go down to 16 degrees C, you have to print out a different one because it'll be out of tune. But then, yeah, we designed this little thing so that you do not have to care about your embouchure at all. Just blow into it. You can't overblow into it because it'll only accept so much air. And go left to right, and it plays the lick that needs to be played by that character on stage. How many people need this? 20? Maybe 50.
It's a thing that exists, and it's a cool thing. Like it's pretty cool. Yeah.
How many people regularly play Papageno? Yeah. And so normally they just sort of mime it and then they give it to the piccolo. I'm like, that is the wrong octave. Again, mad.
Yes.
Like, so good.
Oh, that's
yeah. How much is this? Free, of course, like everything.
Oh my God, brilliant.
But yeah, you can get shakers and mouthpieces. I've got a mouthpiece that'll basically turn a tuba into like a flugelhorn. Or there's some pretty cool stuff you can do with custom mouthpieces.
There you go. Yeah, I should definitely look into that, especially for my more brass playing friends. See what they think of it. Yeah, there's this guy. I know he's been doing a tune with him named Frankie McDonald. He was in some like trumpet bands and stuff, and like. Yeah. I don't know. That sounds like something I'd tell him about. You know, here's some 3D printed pieces you could get for your trumpet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got little mustaches that you can put on your mouthpiece, so that when you put it up to your mouth, it looks like you have a mustache. Those are great.
Oh God, that's funny. That's funny. And a final question I have for you today is actually a little bit about your music again, and it's a bit of an odd one, a bit of a specific one. Like a lot of things that you've done.
Very specific, yes.
Yeah, very specific. And I just was wondering, like, if you could, would you actually distribute a physical compilation album of your music? Like, whether that be on like a CD or a vinyl or something like that. Have you ever thought of that?
I don't wish stuff on anyone. Like, so much of my life is just trying to get rid of as many things as possible and just getting down. And like, I haven't had physical media in a long, long time. And I'm pretty happy about it. If somebody wants to do it, I believe they can just legally do that. You want to do that? You can sell them. I'm not going to stop you. You want to make your own, I don't know, Blu-ray compilation of things on mini disc. I don't know.
Yeah. The best of Kevin MacLeod available at your local Tower Records.
Absolutely. No, go for it. If you want to, anyone who wants to do that can.
All right. Well, if I happen to be the publisher, I'll be generous and actually give you the money. All right.
Or not. I mean, what am I going to do with it?
Something. I'm not cruel, Kevin. If I'm gonna be doing your music or whatnot, and I will.
No. Please send me money. Please send me money. Yes, it's always good to get more money.
Yes, and I will let you know, Kevin. Like, because for some reason I do music every now and again, as I kind of already dabbled into, but one of like my sort of clients has asked me to literally cover one of your tunes. So don't worry, when that comes out, you getting songwriting royalties, all right, man?
Thank you so much. Lovely. I mean, that's actually one of the cooler things that happens is like people send me like their band playing something that that I wrote, or like an orchestra or a handbell choir, or that's really great.
All right. Well, I will most certainly send you the version that I did, absolutely, of Sneaky Snitch. It was.
Oh, you did? Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yes, actually, do I have it here? I think I might. Is that it there? I think that might be it. Yes, that's it. I'll play you only a little bit of it, and then I'll send you the full thing later.
All right.
But I've got a little bit of it here. I might as well show you my little cover. I hope you enjoy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, it does the thing it needs to do, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it does the thing, and then if I go to the ending of the tune,
Yeah, actually, that's a good. I was not expecting that, and I wouldn't have expected that it would translate, but it's fine.
Kevin, that means so much to me. Thank you so much for that. I'm glad that the man himself is a fan.
Yeah, it's got all the character, yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. And you know what? We'll end it with that on the high note there. Kevin, thank you very much for coming on. Is there any sort of last things you'd like to say? And would you like to plug your website?
Sure, you can go to Incompetech. You can go to Jane Cass if you want a Jane Cass instrument and you're not... and if you've got a 3D printer or access to a 3D printer, you can get all that stuff there. FreePD, again, if you speak emoji or are in China, that's for you. Other than that, that's all I got for today.
Kevin, thank you very much. And you can find me simply on my YouTube channel, Jack Lucas Caffrey, which you are most likely on there unless someone has decided to re-upload this or something. But yeah, find me there. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, I finally have opened my Instagram and Facebook to the public, and I'll be posting up highlights of all the interviews I've done and maybe some other shenanigans, like that Sneaky Snitch cover. But Kevin, thank you very much for coming on, and yes, I will speak to you soon.
Sounds great.